It all began when a mysterious zombie virus spread across the entire city, destroying everything in its path. Only a handful of people managed to survive this catastrophe. But the most horrifying thing was that every child born after this devastation was born with the virus already inside them. Was this the end of humanity? That's what we're about to find out in today's story. The story begins with a young boy named Mark, who lived deep inside a deserted forest with his father. Since childhood, Mark had never seen the outside world. He had no friends, no one else to talk to. His father was a quiet, serious man. He rarely spoke, and when he did, he only taught Mark two things. He said, "Outside this forest there are zombies, and the few humans left are far more dangerous than zombies." Every morning, his father would go out to hunt, leaving Mark alone at home, but always giving him a gun for protection. Mark's entire childhood was spent listening to music through his headphones and reading old books. Among them, his favorite storybook had grown yellow and torn with age, but he still read it every day. That book told stories of a magical fairy, and Mark believed in it completely. He had a strange M-shaped mark on his hand since birth, and he believed it was a magical sign, something special, because his name also began with M. One day, while walking through the forest, Mark saw a van parked in the distance. He froze. His heart pounded. Was someone inside? Afraid to go near? He turned back. But that night, he couldn't stop thinking about it. Who could be living there? The next morning, he decided to return, pretending he just wanted to fill water. This time, gathering courage, he peeked inside the van. Everything was surprisingly neat. There were even children's toys lying around. He realized someone must be living here. Suddenly, a shadow moved in the darkness. Startled, Mark jumped back, but as the figure came closer, he realized it was just a child. The child smiled gently and handed Mark his toy, a gesture of friendship. Mark smiled back, took off his headphones, and offered them to the boy. The boy hesitated at first, but when he heard the soft, beautiful music, he smiled. Both of them, being around the same age, quickly became friends. The boy's name was Me. He was kind, warm, and full of innocence. After some time together, Me told Mark that he had to leave soon. Before leaving, Me gave Mark his favorite toy as a gift, a symbol of friendship. As Mark walked home, he suddenly felt an eerie sensation, as if someone was watching him. He hid behind trees, scanning the forest. Then, out of nowhere, a woman with a gun appeared and stopped him. But when she noticed the toy in his hand, her expression softened. Smiling kindly, she told Mark to go home quickly and gave him some wild fruits to take with him. That's when Mark realized this woman must be Me's mother. She had recognized her son's toy. Later, Mark watched from afar as the woman lovingly hugged her son. Seeing that, Mark's heart ached with jealousy. Back at home, Mark hid the toy carefully. But in his distraction, he had forgotten to fill water, something his father immediately noticed and scolded him for. Feeling guilty, Mark went to hug his father, but his father coldly pushed him away. Days passed. Mark kept meeting Me's mother secretly in the forest. Her warm nature reminded him of the mother he had never known. One evening during dinner, he finally gathered the courage to ask his father about his mother, but his father stayed silent. That night, Mark saw his father outside, watching something on a video camera, looking lost and broken. The next morning, his father went hunting as usual. Suddenly, the sound of screams and gunshots echoed through the forest. Sensing danger, his father handed Mark the gun and told him to hide. Then he left to investigate. Mark, trembling, hid behind bushes. A few minutes later, he saw Me's mother lying on the ground, wounded. His father approached her slowly, raised his gun, and shot her dead. Mark's heart sank. He couldn't believe what he'd just seen. How could his father do something so cruel? He ran back home in shock, laid on the bed, and pretended to be asleep when his father returned. His father's face was tense. He muttered repeatedly, "He's come. He's come." Mark tried to act normal, putting on his headphones. But inside his mind was a storm of questions and fear. When his father finally fell asleep, Mark took the video camera and began watching the recordings. He saw old family clips, happy times, when his parents were together, before he was even born. He even saw his elder sister. But then came a dark video, his mother, terrified, recording herself. She said, "My dear son Mark, I love you so much." Suddenly, his father's angry voice shouted from behind, and the video stopped. Mark froze. Was it possible that his father had killed his mother? He could no longer trust him. That night, while his father slept, Mark handcuffed him, packed his bag, and escaped from the house. He ran to the van and found me there. He begged me to run away with him, but me wanted to wait for his mother. So Mark told him the whole truth. Hearing it, me hugged him, comforting him like family. For the first time, Mark felt the warmth of belonging. Both boys set out into the forest together. But suddenly, Mark stopped. His instincts screamed danger. He could sense it, just like his father could. He pulled me into the bushes, and right then a horde of zombies emerged. They waited quietly until the zombies passed, then started running, but more and more zombies appeared. They found an old broken car, jumped inside, and hid. The zombies surrounded them, shaking the car violently. Just when it seemed they were doomed, the sound of gunfire erupted. Bullets tore through the zombies one after another. The door of the car opened, and standing there was Mark's father. He had broken free and tracked Mark's trail. Arriving just in time, he had saved his son. Mark's father held him close, relieved that his son was safe. But more screams echoed. More zombies were coming. Without wasting a moment, he grabbed Mark and ran. Mark pleaded to save Me's mother too, but his father refused. Frustrated, Mark broke free and screamed for the first time. His father turned, shocked to see his son defy him. He wanted to explain, but there was no time. He hid Mark behind a tree root, took the gun, and went to fight. Mark peeked out and saw his father battling the zombies fearlessly, moving closer to Me's car. He realized, my father isn't a monster. He's protecting me. Just then, a zombie staggered toward Mark. He froze, trembling, and pulled the trigger. The gunshot echoed. His father heard it and panicked, sprinting toward the sound. On his way, a zombie lunged at him, biting his hand. He fought it off and rushed to Mark, relieved to find his son unharmed. But then Mark noticed the bite wound on his father's hand. His father looked at it quietly. He knew his time was over. He sat beneath a dry tree, breathing heavily, feeling the virus begin to take hold. He told Mark the truth. His mother had once been bitten too, but she didn't turn into a zombie. That's why soldiers took her away. She was special, he said. She was a fairy. And that mark on your hand, my son, it's from her. Mark's eyes filled with tears. He realized how wrong he'd been. His father wasn't cruel. He had been protecting him all along. He hugged his father tightly. But the virus spread fast. With his last breath, his father told him to run. Moments later, his eyes turned pale, and he became a zombie. Heartbroken, Mark found me again and held his hand. As they walked away, a gunshot echoed in the distance, his father's final end. Mark stopped. He knew his father was gone. Though broken, something inside him hardened. He was no longer just a scared child. He was determined to find his mother. The two boys roamed through the desolate forest. They laughed, played, and walked for miles until they stumbled upon a small human settlement. There, they saw an old man resting near railway tracks. Hungry and tired, the boys approached and asked for food. The old man pitied them and shared his meal. When he heard that Mark was going to find his mother, the fairy, his smile faded. It seemed he knew something painful about that place. He wanted to help them, but he couldn't leave, because his own children had turned into zombies. He couldn't bring himself to kill them, so he kept them locked in a cage. He told Mark and me that they were lucky to still be human. And he encouraged them, open quote, "Go on, children, maybe you'll find a cure for this virus." The boys said goodbye and continued walking along the railway track. Soon they came across a broken train. They were amazed. It was the first time they had seen something so huge. After exploring the engine, they walked toward the last compartment and froze. It was filled with zombies. They turned and ran, only to be stopped by two armed men. The men pointed guns at them and took them to a deserted factory. Their leader was a gangster, a ruthless man. He looked at the children in surprise, alive, uninfected. When he looked at Me's innocent face and clear eyes, he thought, this boy is an angel from heaven. In a world where humanity barely existed, a pure child was a miracle. He decided to keep Me and ordered his men to kill Mark, saying one healthy child was enough. But one of the gang members felt pity. When he saw Mark's mother's photo, his heart softened. He quietly decided to let Mark go. He thought, if even one more child lives, there's still hope left in this world. Mark, being loyal, didn't leave me behind. He waited until night, sneaked into Mee's room, and together they escaped. The next morning, the gangster discovered their absence and shot one of his own men in rage. Meanwhile, Mark and Mee found an old building to hide in. For the first time, Mark found clean clothes and changed. But as he was about to leave, he heard the gangster's men approaching. They had tracked him down. The men surrounded Mee and prepared to capture Mark. Suddenly, from above, a drone appeared, spraying bullets everywhere. In seconds, the gangsters fell dead. Mark ran outside and saw soldiers emerging from behind barricades. He was about to step forward when Mee stopped him, shaking his head. Then, a soldier began walking toward their hiding spot. To save Mark, Mee grabbed a gun and fired into the air, drawing attention. The soldiers turned, and Mee sacrificed himself, taking his own life to protect Mark. Mark froze. His only friend was gone. The pain was unbearable. He remembered his father's words, "Humans are more dangerous than zombies." And he finally understood. He tore his storybook of fairies, realizing they were just human lies. But one hope still burned: to find his mother. He wandered into an abandoned city, tall buildings in ruins, empty streets filled with haunting cries. He ran, hid, and survived countless zombie attacks. Finally, he reached the building from his mother's old photograph. He walked inside, room by room, searching. Then, near a window, he saw a woman standing. Her silhouette looked just like his mother. Tears welled up. He ran toward her, gently took her hand, and hugged her tightly. But she didn't respond. Instead, she bit his hand. Mark screamed in pain. She wasn't his mother. She was a zombie. He ran out and slammed the door shut, collapsing to the floor in tears. All hope was gone. He had nothing left to live for. Then, a broadcast echoed from a nearby building. Mark followed the sound. A holographic projection of a man was giving a speech, talking about survivors in a hidden camp. The noise drew more zombies, but Mark didn't care anymore. He put on his headphones, closed his eyes, and began to pray silently. Suddenly, gunfire erupted around him. Zombies started falling one by one. He turned and saw a group of government soldiers clearing the area. They pointed their laser sights at him. A female soldier noticed his bitten hand and walked toward him cautiously. Mark just wanted to hug someone, one last time. He stepped forward and hugged her gently. Then she saw it, the M mark on his hand. Her eyes widened. She quickly removed her mask and shouted, "He has the mark! He has the mark on his hand!" Her team immediately surrounded them and began escorting Mark to safety. It was then revealed those who had the mark were immune to zombie bites. They possessed special powers, the key to humanity's survival. And with that, the story of this film comes to an end.